Hello. We're going to talk a little bit about the Notch-O-Matic again. So there's several of these getting out there now. A lot of guys using them, and some of the same questions about how to use them are coming up. And so just want to talk about just a few tips and tricks, things that might help you get the most out of your tool and have the most success. So I guess really just to answer some of the more common questions, the first one, most common one that I get is, how far back do I need to pull this thing? And really, I'd say less than an inch for sure. So if you're pulling more than an inch and the flake isn't coming off, more pull is probably a bad idea. I think if you're pulling about a half inch, 3/8 of an inch, and maybe even less than a quarter of an inch if you're using obsidian, is probably sufficient. And if the flake is not coming off, your platform's probably not right. Another question I often get is, how deep do I put my notcher on the platform? And really, I advise that typically if you're going to try to take a flake with the Notch-O-Matic, you should be around a 1/16 of an inch. So that's really not very much. Just to give you an idea of what a 1/16 of an inch of grab might look like, it's really just about that much. On a really big flake, if I want to be aggressive with it, I might go as much as an 1/8 of an inch. But really no more than that. I think if you go more than that, you're probably pretty high up on the platform, and I think it's best if you grab less. Sometimes it's better to take 2 or more smaller flakes instead of one really big one. Another concept I want to tell you about here is with the Notch-O-Matic, generally you want to stay below center line. So what I've got here, this is just a piece of Burlington. It's got kind of a thicker base on it, and what I've got here in this hand, this is a conchoidal fracture that I popped out of some obsidian, and I'm just going to kind of use this to talk about this center line concept. So if you're going to take a flake and it's going to initiate wherever your platform is, either above center line or below center line, if you can just kind of visualize what this conchoidal fracture is going to look like, the higher up you go, the bigger cone is going to result on the bottom side. So generally speaking, you want to be at or below center line. If you get your platform up too high toward the side that you're going to strike off of, there's a good chance that that conchoidal fracture is going to involve some or all of the ear of the point, and it's going to blow the whole thing off if you're flaking from too high. Hopefully that makes sense what I'm saying there. And then finally, another question that I commonly get here is concerning how much tilt. So this is going to be hard to visualize here. So in general, when you're taking a flake with the Notch-O-Matic, you want to be pretty much perpendicular to the point itself. I think if you tilt the notcher into the flake, you are going to take off a little bit more toward the interior of the point. But keep in mind, when you change the angle of your flake with your Notch-O-Matic, it's going to also tilt the resulting conchoidal fracture that wants to come off. And if you get your tilt too severe, it will split the point and bisect it because your conchoidal fracture is too deep. All right, so I've got this Burlington here. It's fairly thin. It's not great, especially down here on the base. You see this discoloration here. This is some grittier material here. This is fine up here. And when you know it, where I need to notch, that's where the gritty part is. I'm going to attempt to lay in some corner notches here. Make this somewhat of a Kirk style, if I can, and I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to use the Notch-O-Matic. I will be using this horseshoe nail tool for changing my elevation and maybe doing a little pressure flaking in the notches here to get things going. And as I need to tune up my platforms, I'll be using this. But we'll see how it goes here. So I think I'm just going to start here somewhere here in the corner and just try to get my notch started. Now with the Kirk style, the notches aren't necessarily uber thin and fine, so not going to expect too much out of this crunchy stuff. We're just going to see what we can get with the tools. See, now that did not come off. I expected it to, so that tells me that my platform is probably not as sharp as it needs to be. So I'm just going to lay a couple pressure flakes in there to get that platform a little bit sharper, a little bit weaker. And then I'm going to grab just the slightest amount here. Keep my tool mostly perpendicular. And there's my first flake. Now if you notice, I do have some of the finer material up in here, and if we look at how that flake came out, it did kind of gravitate toward the finer material. So even with a perpendicular notcher, the flake did travel inward somewhat. So I'm going to use my pressure flaking tool here to set up my next platform. And again, I want to make sure that when I try to take a flake off, that I'm only grabbing, about 1/16 of an inch. I want to make sure that I'm below center line and toward the face that I want to flake off of with my platform, because if I don't, it's going to take out a large conchoidal fracture that may involve material that I don't want it to. So I'm going to try to get that platform toward this face. And again, I'm just going to grab just the smallest amount of platform. Got a little C flake there. That's what I was hoping for. And again, I'm going to change my elevation towards this face, because this is where my next flake is coming from. Okay, so again, not much platform. You know what? There's a little mass hanging right here. I think I'm going to go ahead and pop that with the Notch-O-Matic also, just to get that extra mass out of there, because if I leave it there, the next flake on that side is going to want to follow that mass, and I wonder if I'd be better off pressure flaking that off of there. I think I might. Yeah, pressure flaked off just fine. Okay. Okay. So, you can see there. Okay, again, mostly perpendicular, just about a 1/16. And that crunchy stuff is wanting to step up on me a little bit there, so we'll see if that comes back and causes us problems on the next go here. We'll see. In fact, I'm going to see if I can't get a little bit out of there with pressure. Okay. This platform is wanting to hang up a little bit closer to center than I have affection for, but we're going to see what it'll do here. Okay. Okay, now this one will be back in the crunchy stuff here. And bingo, through the crunchy stuff. So there's my flake right there. Okay, now I'm starting to get to the extent that I think I'll want that notch, so I think I may chill on this notch for now and see what I get by on the other side. And I always have problem with symmetry here, so if I get this thing started wrong, it's not going to look right when I'm done. So I think it's about right there is where I want to start. So again, I'm going to take my pressure notcher just to get myself going here. And I'm a little worried on this first flake because I'm going to be in this crunchy stuff right off the bat. So not high quality flint on this base. A little scared of it. Okay, well, we're going to see what we get here. Mostly perpendicular tool. Not much platform. Whew, okay. Good deal. Now that involved a little bit of that ear, and you know I didn't want that to happen necessarily, but I've got material there, so seemed to be okay on that first flake. But I'm going to start steering this sucker this way just to stay away from, you know, blowing that ear off if possible. Dang it. That crunchy stuff wrapped around there and grabbed that on my pressure flake. And like that. So we're going to have to bring this ear up to match that one. But anyhow. Okay. Crunchy stuff, not a problem for the Notch-O-Matic here so far. Now if you look at that platform, I'm trying to take a flake off of this side, and that's very near to center, so I'm going to keep whittling at that just a little bit. I want to change the elevation a little bit closer to this face that I'm going to flake off of. So, you know, that did not come off when I expected it to, so I'm going to give her one more poke here, and if it doesn't go, we're going to give it a little more whittling with the pressure flaker. Okay, it went. Whew. Okay. Cool, cool. That was a good flake. That's what we wanted to happen there. Get some mass there, mass removed, and helps me feel a little better about subsequent flakes then, because the platform angle then can continue to be right. After you get one to go, you can get others to go. So I'm going to take that down just a little bit more. Okay, just a little bit of platform. Okay, got a flake to go. Okay. I'll clean up my scar there just a little bit. There's my pressure flaker. Okay, we're going to give her one more kabang here in that crunchy stuff, just to show off. Famous last words. Boom. Okay, now looks like I went a little deeper on this notch than I did on this notch, and I remember we stopped short there just in case the second one stalled out. So we're going to see if we can't match this notch to this notch, and I know that I'm going to have to clean that ear up a little bit. Maybe I'll do that last, but man, that thing's a little bit stalled. I think we're going to give her a go here and see what happens. I hope I don't break it. Okay, got a little spray off of it that time. I'll look at this off camera here a little bit so I can get a better look at it. Okay. Try to give her just a little kibbing from this side here. Nice. Got it back. It's one of the best feelings in the world when you got a stalled notch and you bring it back to life. It says it's back to life. We'll see here. Might only be back to life on one side. Probably need to give this a little tune up here. When those corners get rounded, that's not particularly good either. You kind of want a sharper corner on your Notch-O-Matic. Okay, we're going to see. Oh man, that's pretty round. See big dummy there, hit that corner with the pressure flaker. There we go. Oh, baby, we just need one more, really. Ooh. Okay. I think that's about all I'm going to try to get on that one. Okay, so now I'm just going to work on the symmetry a little bit here. Okay, I think I'm going to call it good for a Kirk Corner Notch style. I'm using the horseshoe nail flaker and the Notch-O-Matic to get through that crusty crud there. So I'm pretty sure that I would have stalled that notch out, maybe about 3/16 of an inch in if all I were using was this. That's usually how it goes, but with the Notch-O-Matic I was able to power through and get through the crud there on this guy. So again, if you're interested in the Notch-O-Matic tool, I have these for sale. If you look in the description, I'll have my email there. You can email me at theolithic71@gmail.com, and I'll give you details on how to purchase.